The most infamous moment in all of Elden Ring is probably the discovery of Siofra. You wander through this dark, cold forest. You cuddle with a giant bear.
Long-range self-defense is your friend.
And make friends with a chummy wolf. But when you have delved deep enough into the undergrowth of the Mistwood, this small round building appears from the midst of the darkness of the night. Once you stepped in, the floor at your feet turns out to be an elevator, and you ride down, and down, and down. Until finally, the walls around you are lifted, and a whole new world gets revealed, far beneath the surface, covered by a night blue sky. You have reached the Siofra Rivers, an area so dreamy and enchanting that you simply cannot believe what you have just discovered. An area so intimidating and dangerous, and yet so enticing that it still feels inviting to explore. And the more of these pillars you kindle, the more this place fuels your curiosity. Only when this great magical elk has been slain, do you resume your usual path through the open world above, assuming that this short excursion into the underworld is all there really was to it. But this couldn't be further from the truth. One day you will return, and only then will you realize how deep the rabbit hole really goes. This situation is more than just a simple surprise, and it won't be the only time something like this will happen to you. In fact, this game is constantly leading you down dead ends, restricting your path like no other open world game would ever dare to do so. And every time you think you have seen everything, a new trail opens up, and a new adventure awaits you along the way. I'm Grumpy Snorly, and this is the unexpected nature of Elden Ring's open world progression. Elden Ring is such a fantastic game that I have to call it one of the greatest of all time. But that's not just because it's a Soulslike game by Mastermind Miyazaki, and I'm so into the genre that I surrender myself to the masochistic sensations of enjoying the voracious pain and blood-curdling agony that this man wants to inflict on his players. Although its gameplay loop is so infectious, challenges me, pushes me to my limits, it is not just the raw experience of combat that makes me adore Elden Ring. No, there's something special about this game that goes beyond anything we have ever seen before. But what is it? Overcoming obstacles has always been at the heart of Fromsoftware's work. So could it be that the answer I'm looking for has something to do with the fact that they have also incorporated this aspect into what makes Elden Ring so different from their previous games, the open world? I love Elden Ring's imaginative game world, and I could talk for hours about how cool and diverse the individual areas are. The organic architecture feels well thought out and is always an absolute feast for the eye. The drastic separation of color palettes assigned to all individual areas gives each one its own unique expression. I could show you any random screenshot and you would immediately recognize where in the world this place is, even without any significant landmarks being visible. But my fascination for the game world goes deeper than its artistic direction. Something more integral, something written deeply into the DNA of Elden Ring's level design. I think it's more about why you travel the lands between, what gives you a reason for it from a gameplay perspective. You have to know, guys, I don't enjoy open world games that much. Don't get me wrong, I like open worlds. I just don't like the way most of these games let you spend or even waste your time in these worlds. My favorite examples for this are the Horizon games, Zero Dawn and Forbidden West. Games that I generally like, but get me bored after a while. Nevertheless miles better than the nonsense those French fruit hucksters want to sell us. Yikes. Their gameplay loop may be entertaining enough for a while to have fun exploring the open world bit by bit. But no matter where your freedom as a player takes you on this vast space of endless possibilities, you will do and find the same things everywhere you go. After a while, you will be fed up, and the only thing that could further motivate you, if it's good enough, is the story. These worlds can't give you the variety you crave for. How could they? In order to give you this freedom, the developers had to balance the difficulty in a way for you to make progress in every direction that you could possibly take, resulting very soon in a big, unsatisfying lack of challenge. Elden Ring, on the other hand, not only wants to offer you this challenge, it also has a very unique habit of confronting you with it in advance. But for this, I have to go into further detail. The first time I felt how unconventionally Elden Ring demonstrates its open world to the player is in a situation that many will have probably discovered very early on. Just east of our original starting point, we are getting flambéed by a dragon like a good steak. So we leave the scaly monster alone for the time being. We will discover a small ruin behind it, which we clear of dogs and undead. Easy going. I mean, we've eaten Dark Souls for breakfast. The Platinum Trophy in Sekiro? Pff, what a joke. After all, we've seen everything, right? What could possibly go wrong if we walk down these stairs and open up this crate to get our well-deserved loot? I mean, we are almost invincible at this point. Why is there smoke coming out of this chest? Is this normal, or should I call the fire brigade? Am I being ported somewhere? Oh my god, where am I? What the heck are these obnoxious giant cockroaches doing? These projectile attacks are far too powerful. Good lord have mercy on me. Oops, I'm dead. But I respawn here in this damn mine. I'm trapped here. How do I get out of this mess? Phew. Luckily there's a side of grace. Now I understand why they are called as such. Finally, I can breathe some fresh air. But why does it smell of death and disease? Like flesh soaked in scarlet rot? Oh, that's why. What the heck is this place anyway? The sky is just as red as the bloody mud in front of me. What are these gigantic fungus blob creatures? Skeletons that attack me with 1,000 blows per second?
Good heavens. Clench your teeth or something.
I think you are getting the point by now. When you first discover Caelid this way, the contrast to everything else you have discovered so far is so huge that it simply leaves you speechless. You are thrown mercilessly into an area for which you are completely underleveled at this moment, and barely have a chance to fight your way out. The devs have metaphorically fed you to the sharks, just to make sure that you really understand what awaits you here in the future. And they did it in the most brutal way possible, so that you won't forget this horrifying experience anytime soon. This is their way of telling you to prepare for what's to come once you return. How Elden Ring manages to tear you out of your familiar surroundings just to teach you a simple lesson is, in my opinion, mind-blowing and awesome. And at the same time, nobody is stopping you from looking around a little more. I mean, who is so tired of life as to try this voluntarily? Me. I have to say that the whole discovery of Caelid is a great example for asynchronous open-world progression, and certainly a pleasant surprise. But that's just one of many moments in Elden Ring one could say this about. That's why I would be interested to know which discovery in Elden Ring was something special for you. Are there any situations, encounters, or places that have triggered something in you or have stuck in your memory? Please let me know in the comments. And if you liked the video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Even worse than a lack of challenge is the fact that other open world games simply don't give you a clear goal to work towards. Yes, you are given a general guideline through the missions, but nothing you do serves a greater purpose. It's just content to keep you busy. Try to look at it this way. How is a mission in Horizon structured? You travel to a quest marker, kill a few robotic animals for crafting components on the way, and then start the mission. You are shown a cutscene for the context of your subsequent actions. You are sent directly to a certain location marked on your map. Once there, you kill a few enemies, explore a dungeon, or both. You are shown another cutscene that advances the plot, and that's it. In Elden Ring, a quest looks like this. Your ultimate goal is to get to Leyndell, the royal capital. There you seek for the Earth Tree to become Elden Lord and restore the Golden Order. Yeah, don't ask me, ask Vati. Leyndell is located on the Altus Plateau, but unlike other comparable games, not the entire open world is open to you straight away. In both Horizon installments, you have no more restrictions in this regard after completing the first chapter. In Elden Ring, only the first 3 areas are available to you right from the start. If you want to go further north to Altus, you first have to overcome this gigantic wall. To get up there, you have to reach the Great Lift of Dactus in Leonia. It is not difficult to find, as 2 giant statues of knights on horseback adorn the wide staircase in front of its entrance. This graceful structure can be seen from every hill in the area, and the main road on the east leads right up to it. However, this lift can only be operated if you have obtained 2 halves of a medallion. Once you're here, you will most likely already have the first one, as you probably helped the vain Kenneth Hyde reclaim his castle. But where is the second one? The only information you have is that it can be found far in the east, but that would mean that you have to return to Caelid, and we all know just too well that this is not an option for now. So if this bloody, nightmarish, scarlet rotten wasteland is not up for debate, is there any other way to get up this steep rocky cliff? Yes, there is. A little earlier, we had the choice of either taking up our duty like a true warrior, fighting our way honorably through the corridors and courtyards of the enormous Stormwell castle, or choosing the path to the right like a cowardly rat, simply skipping the first legacy dungeon. Hey, say what you want, but actually having the option to do so is an interesting, and considering this is a Fromsoftware title we are talking about,
Sorry, Chris can't answer the phone right now. He's too busy swallowing his own teeth.
surprising approach to non-linear level progression. Despite our dishonorable detour, we are rewarded at the end of the trail with one of the most breathtaking views in the entire game. A view over the whole valley of Leonia of the Lakes. This blue dreary swamp stretches till the ends of the horizon, and in the middle of it lies Raya Lucaria, the magnificent academy for glintstone magic. I love the tranquil and slightly eerie atmosphere as you wade through the thick mist of this watery plain. But no matter where you ride, you will never lose sight of this wondrous castle, as it towers so majestically over the whole country, always reminding you of what your next destination should be. In these wetlands, we meet the friendly Raya, who asks us for the favor of talking to Mr. Krabs. I love seafood.
Hello, I like money.
As a reward, she reveals us to a secret path between the heights of House Caria and the eastern road that leads to a mine beneath the Great Lift of Dectus. There should be a passage to the Altus Plateau. Just one tiny catch. Only after obtaining 2 great runes will we be allowed to pass through. Since everything is better than Caelid, we therefore decide to clear the 2 legacy dungeons, as their final bosses hold those runes. So let's get started with the enticingly splendid Academy of Raya Lucaria, after snatching the entrance key from under a sleepy dragon's nose and fighting our way up the street through an entire army. We enter this magical building and be immediately crunched by zombies in the front garden. Already from a distance, we discover a large wheel whose purpose makes us wonder. When we reach it, we notice that it is an elevator. Of course, out of utmost curiosity, we can't resist the urge to ride it down into the depths. But the hideous Iron Maiden waiting for us there makes us immediately run to the hills. But after all, the Maiden still manages to catch us. And while we become her snack, we are getting obsessed about the fact that we now have to collect our runes down there. However, just one loading screen later, this annoyance has become completely irrelevant, because suddenly we are standing on a tiny piece of rock, surrounded by a gigantic lava flow. This is Volcano Manor, the home of Rykard, the god-devouring serpent and lord of blasphemy. As soon as we have found the way through these glowing vaults, we face not just one, but 2 of these maidens in a boss fight. So don't judge me for summoning a ghost companion to help me, I'm just evening out the numbers game. At the end of the tunnel, we enter an unknown realm. We are unsure what lies ahead, but nevertheless ride a little further east, only to suddenly spot the firmament bathed in the golden light of the Earth Tree. We realize that we just have completed our quest. We reached the Altus Plateau and found Leyndell. Standing on a cliff, we soak up the glorious sight of the royal capital. The game has once again given us a shortcut to the next main area. It is possible to catch sight of the gates leading to Leyndell without having even completed one single legacy dungeon or collecting the 2 halves of the medallion. In the Dark Souls games, you are punished with a cruel death if you walk into a trap. In Elden Ring, you are rewarded with progress and new opportunities for stumbling into almost anything, as it seems. And I just love it. Everywhere are opportunities to skip quests, to overcome the supposed limits of the world. But if you know about these shortcuts, you can really plan your own path. There's something fulfilling about breaking the boundaries of a game world that feels much more like true freedom than having every direction open to you right from the start. It's almost as if you use the freedom given to you in this game to literally shatter the supposed linear path that has been paved for you like chains that hold you back for so long. Other games serve you this freedom on a silver platter, like to a spoiled child, but don't let you do anything meaningful with it. In Elden Ring, you have to earn this privilege. It makes you feel like you have achieved this by beating all those difficult bosses and finding your own way through this branching and dangerous open world. That's what really fascinates me about Elden Ring. It always manages to surprise you, exactly where others start to bore you. And if your expectations have already reached their highest limit, Elden Ring raises the bar even further. This game does not fit into the typical open world cliché. It has far too many dungeons, castles, straight paths that lead you through an area following the old-fashioned Dark Souls style. But it combines these restricted sections with vast landscapes that serve as a variety-packed playground for you to explore. And yet, it is repeatedly blocking your access to new locations. And it is up to you to find and fight your way through in order to reach them. The solutions are never conventional, always hidden in the deepest, most mysterious corners that the lands between have to offer. So well hidden that many players will simply miss them. This is what makes Elden Ring so special, what makes it so outstanding compared to all these other open world games, showing what the true potential of this genre could really be. It is the surprising nature of the non-linearity in Elden Ring's open world progression. But this is by no means the end of our fantastic journey. By the time this video will be released, many of you have already spent time with the DLC, and I'm planning to make a video about this as well. If you don't want to miss it, subscribe to the channel and, most importantly, hit the bell. This is really necessary so that my videos are actually shown to you and don't get lost in the depths of the algorithm. But for now I say, thanks for watching. Yours truly, Grumpy Snorly.